Warriors, this is the Spartan Underground. And now, your host, James 300 Foster.
What's up, Spartan Warriors? I'm back for the second episode of the Spartan Underground. Very excited that I'm going to have an interview on here with Julia Gumpert from Mission 22. And it's actually going to be a double feature. After that, we're going to have an interview with Jeff Perez of Nous Defions. I said it right that time, I think. I butchered it on my last podcast. My apologies to Jeff. Very hard to pronounce, but a very cool cause. What else is going on here? Well, I'm still taking applications for official sponsors of the podcast. I've had a bunch of different requests from people. If you would like your business to be featured, I'm going to have a PDF that I'm going to be uploading to my website here very soon of the application. But in the meantime, you can email me at coach@fbjjonline.com. Again, coach@fbjjonline.com, and inquire about the application, and we can get you set up to be featured on here. So, very excited for the second episode. I hope you guys enjoy it. Here we go. What's up, everyone? I'm here with Julia Gumpert from Mission 22. How you doing today, Julia?
Doing well, thank you.
It's very awesome to have you here. Mission 22 is something very close to my heart, and wanted to take this opportunity today since you're in town. It's such a small world that you have family here in Washington State, and wanted you to kind of tell everybody how Mission 22 was founded and how it all came about.
Yeah, of course, we appreciate the opportunity to be here. We've been so blessed to go to so many different jiu-jitsu academies this year, meet wonderful people like you and your students here, so we appreciate it. So Mission 22 started as a project of Elder Heart, which is a not-for-profit out of Nashville, Indiana. That was started by Tom Spooner, Mike Cassell, and Magnus Johnson, three Special Forces operators from the U.S. Army. Got together and noticed that the war at home was an issue. The war with veteran suicide and PTSD stigma, and the difficulty keeping the family as a unit and the support here from the community at home. So what we do is we do large-scale art projects to draw attention to veteran social issues. We are in the process of constructing the first ever monument to men and women who have taken their lives here on domestic soil. 22 giant steel targets cut out of actual soldiers, laser cut, that will be a moving monument of these 22 targets.
Very cool. If you don't mind me asking, what's the 22 in Mission 22 stand for, just for our audience who's listening?
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, a minimum of 22 veterans a day take their own lives. This is the official government statistic. We 100% know that the number is higher. This number is specifically only for men and women who are in the Veterans Administration system. So if you have someone who's a veteran and they've taken their own life, unfortunately, outside of the system and had a private physician, they're not even included in that statistic. Also doesn't include active duty. This is an issue that's not it's not strictly a VA issue. This is not strictly a veteran community issue. This is an American problem that we need to address and correct.
I couldn't agree more. How did Mission 22 get involved with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community, and where was it involved prior to that?
So originally I contacted Mission 22. I'm a physician assistant in North Carolina, and I had a patient take his own life and leave a very personal letter to me. It was a wake-up call for me. It really made me search and determine different ways as a healthcare provider to risk stratify the veterans that we were letting fall through the crack in the medical community. When I contacted Elderhart, I told him what I wanted to do, and this originally started as a climbing project. Ben and I rock climb quite a bit, and through a roundabout way, my husband's has been doing jiu-jitsu for the last several years. He connected us with Alan Shabaro. Alan opened up his heart and his academy to me. I went down, gave a quick spiel to the jiu-jitsu community, and they just have opened up their arms, their academies, and so pretty much Alan was our catalyst, and now we have an actual core jiu-jitsu team that consists of a brown belt and 3 black belts, and we're available for anyone, anytime.
Very cool, and I'm honored to be part of that team.
Yes,
thank you for that. A lot of people don't know this, but one of my grandpas committed suicide a few years back, so suicide is definitely an issue that I take very seriously, and I feel that if there's anything we can do to help, I think we should do it. So I really appreciate what you're doing. It means a lot to me. Yeah,
we appreciate it. I don't want everyone involved to be personally touched by suicide, because we don't wish that on anyone. That pain is unlike, it's a pain that's deep, and I'm sorry for your loss. But our goal is that we want to foster solutions. We firmly believe that jiu-jitsu saves lives. I've seen it. It's a pressure relief for my husband when he comes home. It's discipline. It's commitment, it's dedication for a common goal with brothers and sisters on and off the mat. And if you want to learn more about the jiu-jitsu events, you can always find myself on Facebook. We post them up on the main Facebook page for Mission 22. And then the website's mission22.com.
Awesome. So that's where people can go to get more info, and also is that where they can go if they want to find out how they can support and help the cause?
Absolutely, you can donate. So we're a very transparent organization. We have no overhead as an organization right now. We have gear that you can purchase on there. Now we have competition legal patches that are on there that look pretty sharp on a gi. When you buy a t-shirt, when you buy a gi, yes, the money goes 100% towards the foundation of the monument and creating and fostering and supporting these other organizations that are part of the solution. But what it does is it creates a conversation. And through the conversation, people begin to feel a sense of accountability. And through accountability, we create change.
Awesome, Julia. Well, actually, technically, you're my very first podcast guest, even though Keith Owen's episode's going to come out first. Right. I really appreciate you sitting down and taking the time to do this, and just thank you so much.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Your academy was wonderful. Your students are fantastic, and you're a world champ on and off the mat. Thank
awesome.
You.
Happy holidays to you guys.
Thank you. Same to you.
Hey everyone, I'm real excited to be here on our second episode. Today I'm here with Jeff Perez. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, and glad I'm here to support.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you being on, and I'm going to try to not butcher the name here this time. So you're the founder of Nous Defions. Is that correct? Did I say it right?
Yeah, pretty much. It's Nous Defions.
Defions, gotcha. Perfect. Yeah. I'll get it right eventually.
No worries.
Jeff, could you tell us a little bit about your background and kind of how you got involved with the jiu-jitsu community?
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's see, the first time I actually ever stepped on a mat, I think I was 17 years old. It was It's kind of ironic, actually. It was at Rod Rice's house. That would be Tanner Rice's father.
Oh,
And
very cool.
yeah, it's kind of crazy how it happened. I was 17 years old, and my sister's boyfriend at the time, he was real big into rolling all the time, and he was he always asked me to go, and yeah, I thought about it. I was a high school wrestler, so him being my sister's boyfriend, I kind of figured that I was gonna kind of take it to him a little bit. So I went to Rod's place, and it was really super cool. I mean, basically the garage open. It was completely matted out, and we just went inside and started rolling. And I thought I was doing pretty good, and we were wrestling and doing kind of what I wanted. And then I just started getting tapped left and right, and then found out real fast that I had no clue what I was doing, and kind of quit because it was a little bit of a shock to my ego. And I think right after that, I pretty much went into the military. So I kind of put it on the back burner for a little bit, and was still kind of grappling, mostly wrestling. And sometime around 2007, I graduated from the Special Forces qualification course, and ended up going to the same unit that Alan Shabaro was at. So, that was kind of unique. And so I met Alan in 2007, early 2008, and then started kind of rolling from there. So, that's kind of how it started.
Very cool. Now, how did you come about founding your organization?
Well, it was kind of at a time in my life where jiu-jitsu had really done so much for me that I wanted to do something that kind of bridged the gap between the military and jiu-jitsu. There had been a couple of people that had, kind of done it before. Matt Larson was the founder of the Modern Army Combatives program and really got integrated with the Gracies and, Ranger Regiment back in the 90s. And when he was doing that, it turned out really well. And there was a huge kind of a incline of combatives and jiu-jitsu within the military. And there were some of us that, we didn't really fit into that mold as much in our community. And we really wanted to kind of design something that was for us, So that's kind of like what we did. So I started it up and took something from, our community and started the company, and then really wanted to bridge the gap between the Special Forces and jiu-jitsu as a whole, because there's a lot of us that train, and but we didn't really have something that was for us. So that was the intent behind it.
Well, that's great, and I really like what you've been doing, and I'm very honored to be one of your sponsored athletes. And maybe for the people who don't know, what kind of things does the brand provide, and kind of what's the direction that you're looking to go in with it in the future?
Oh, well, actually, I'm really glad you asked, because I get a lot of emails and I get a lot of messages on Facebook from everybody that, they kind of want to know the same thing. And for us, what it kind of started out with was, really, really started with our relationship with Show Your Roll at the time. And I had basically, like I said before, jiu-jitsu had done so much for me. So I wanted to do something for the guys in our community. So I decided that I wanted to design the first ever Special Forces gi. And so I went to a bunch of companies and I wrote letters, and none of them seemed to really be interested. And then finally, I was such a big fan of Show Your Roll at the time. I basically had I had two Show Your Roll gis. I had the version 1 7th Son and Ryan Hall's 50/50. So I went ahead and I wrote an email to Bear at the time, thinking that there's no way that this is going to go my way. And he called me like 40 minutes later. He didn't even email me back. He just called me and explained to me that, he had a lot of guys that wanted to do gis, and he read my email, and just felt like he wanted to do it. So that was the beginning of the relationship. And we designed the gi, and it took us a couple of years to get it out because he was so busy at the time. And I was super busy. I was still deploying a lot and training all the time. So, we finally released it, and that kind of started it for us. And then later on, we began to evolve. So we decided that from that point on, we wanted to have an exclusive relationship with Show Your Roll, and then start to merge the company towards what the initial intent was, which was to create a collaboration company that dealt with only American-made products.
Well, that's great. And for those in the minority out there who aren't already addicted to Show You Roll, the gi you guys did is actually one of the most rare and sought-after models of Show You Roll. And I have to say, I'm one of the people, I really wanted it, but that initial batch, you guys only did up through size A4, so I missed out on that one.
Yeah. It was, it was a little unique. It was, at the time, hindsight being 2020, really wish that I would have been able to do a lot more, but I was still pretty new at the game, and it kind of blows people away all the time because they'll hit me up and say, "Hey man, do you know where there's like an A4 that I can get a hold of?" And I go back still today and even look at the spreadsheet, and I let them know, I'm like, "Hey man, sorry to tell you this, but we only created 4 of those, and that's it." So and then they're just kind of blown away, like, "Wow, so there's only 4 A4s?" And I'm like, "Yeah, there's only 4 of them."
Yeah, and I'm probably one of those guys that message you because I was trying to figure out a way I could, maybe go on a water diet and cut myself down to where I could fit in an A4.
Yeah, well, yeah, you and a few other guys, because there's a couple people that have like A2s that wear like A3H or whatever the size is, and they're like, "Oh, I'll just lose 20 pounds and it'll fit." And they refuse to get rid of it. They're like, "I'm not going to get rid of it." Yeah.
That's great. A great incentive to stay in shape, right?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But
so your reasoning for going with Show You Roll, and this is something that I kind of touch on with people, that Show You Roll is much more than just cool gis. The people behind the brand are just incredible. So you had a good connection with Bear right off the start, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it just kind of seemed to fit. I was very attracted to the Show Your Roll motto, the rebels against the mainstream, and the translated words for Nous Defions are "We Defy." So the whole "We Defy" and rebels against the mainstream it just really kind of fit. And I think that through kind of fostering that relationship with Bear and sitting down and having a lot of phone conversations and understanding where both of us wanted the direction of the brand to go and how it fit in with Show Your Roll, it just really seemed to melt together, and basically just a perfect relationship.
Well, I also wanted to ask you, I understand that sometimes people are a little confused. There's some connections between Mission 22 and Dual Forces and what you do, and also the We Defy Foundation. So kind of what different branches does your brand focus on compared to those other kind of offshoots of your brand?
Well, yeah, that's pretty interesting. Well, I'll start with the Mission 22. I had a tragedy in my life at the time, and Julia and Ben are, really good friends of mine and my family's. So Julia had come to me and kind of introduced the Mission 22 about the same time as I believe Alan was getting involved with it as well. So we both started getting involved with it at the same time, and it was something that was really passionate, for us to be involved with. I think their mission statement and what they do alone was something that was really easy for us to kind of gravitate towards and really support. One, because I'm still enlisted, and two, because, I've read all the Facebook posts, and I've seen all the issues in the news with it, and it was just something that was really easy for us to get involved with, and we wanted to help as much as we could, and just to bring light to the subject of veteran suicide and how important it is to combat against it. So it was just really easy. And then from that, we decided that we were going to get involved with Alan and the We Defy Foundation. And the work that him and Joey Bozick are doing is absolutely phenomenal. And starting that up, and the rehabilitation for wounded veterans through martial arts and jiu-jitsu is, I think, incredible. And again, it's just really closely related to us. Alan being, the black belt that I train under and, compete under, and him and Joey starting that up. So, and there is some confusion with some people who don't follow as closely and see it. So, it's kind of like one of those things where I talk about the collective all the time. And the collective is actually something that's quite special because we're all very interconnected, yet we all work on several different projects. And then somehow in the midst of all the chaos, we're able to come together and kind of work on the same things, help each other. And it's, mutually beneficial for everybody within the community.
Yeah, that's definitely something I think is really special about what you guys are doing. And everybody's kind of taken up their own area and shown their support. So what are your sponsored athletes that you have on now? I mean, I'm honored to be one. Are you seeking out more athletes to sponsor, or is that something that you're kind of keeping limited for the time being?
Yeah, we pretty much capped it out for 2015 with all the guys that we have now. And again, just being part of the collective, everybody that started with us from the very beginning. It's definitely a cool relationship because it was one of the things where I had to sit down and really kind of orchestrate what it is that I wanted to do. And, Alan had called me one day and told me not to forget about all the guys that, really helped us get going. And, I think the top 15 or the 15 or 16 that we sponsor have all pretty much been with us since the very beginning. I mean, since we launched, it was everybody that was showing support. So when we decided to start the sponsorship program, it was more of a not what sponsors could do for us, but just how we could kind of showcase everybody's journey and talent in jiu-jitsu as a whole. It was really kind of important for us to do. And it was something that I think as a company, we weren't really looking for anything from the athletes or anything. We just wanted to really show everybody in the community that, hey, these are the guys that supported us from the beginning.
Very cool. Now, how has jiu-jitsu impacted your life? I'm assuming it's a pretty big part of your life and something you enjoy doing since you've been doing it so long. What are some of the benefits you've recognized in yourself from training?
Well, I think that the best sum that up really is that it is a guy that's in special forces or a guy that's an operator or anybody that's in the military in general. For us, it's something that we're able to continue to do. I mean, combative sports are always going to be something that guys like myself and Alan and other guys that are in the military, guys like Pete Wilhelm and Joey and all those guys that get out. And combative sports is just something that it just comes natural for them to do. It's just a real easy transition that just keeps you in part of the fight. For me, that's a huge thing because it's a way for me to decompress. It's just, for that hour and a half that I'm on the mat, I'm just thinking about the puzzle that's in front of me and what I can do to better myself. And then there's a lot of things that have to do with confidence, especially when I was still on a team. It was something that, the confidence level that it gives you when you walk into a house or you walk into a situation that you can, that you're going to be able to handle it no matter what. And then also coupled with the fact that it's great for, the anaerobic and the aerobic, features of the sport in itself are phenomenal and great for guys like me. But then again, I mean, you can argue that, yoga is just as important. But
Yeah, as someone who's been around, I've been doing martial arts now for almost 30 years, and about 20 of those years have been dedicated to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I always tell people it's very unique compared to anything else I've ever been involved with, and I think it's one of those things where it's hard for people to understand until they try or get involved with Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've had I don't know, probably 10 or 15 people that have started up doing jiu-jitsu, and since I've started, guys that are friends, personal friends, things like that. And it's always the same thing. They come to you and they ask you, what's it going to be like, and you always try to be honest with them and let them know that, well, the first year is kind of brutal. And I think it's hard for guys in my community to do it because it is so brutal that first year. And for some of us, for even longer than a year, it's they struggle with the fact that it's something that they're not good at, and that's hard for a lot of guys in my community, especially A-type personality individuals that have always kind of fostered the belief that they're the best at everything, and then they step on the mat and then they find out real fast that, wow, this is a lot harder than it looks. But for the guys that stick with it, they're just like the rest of us. They get bit with the bug and they don't want to quit, and it becomes part of their culture and part of their life, and they just keep going.
Yeah, it's definitely a humbling experience for a lot of the reasons you described, and but it also, like you said, once they're hooked, it's usually you got to try to keep them off the mats versus trying to get them to come to the mats.
Definitely. I have friends that call me like, so hey, I was driving home and I was thinking about that Kimura, and that's kind of when I know. That's kind of when I know that, all right, he's hooked. Because if a guy can tell me that he's driving and thinking about jiu-jitsu, or he's on the shooting range and he's thinking about jiu-jitsu, or wherever it is that he's at, I have friends that'll call me and say, hey, so I had this dream and I want to try this thing on the mat, and I know for sure that, all right, this guy's hooked. He's not going to quit, and that's basically how it goes, and that's what you're hoping kind of everybody does, but not all of them are like that. Some of them will. They'll quit after a while. I kind of notice that some guys will get their blue belt and then, they kind of quit after that. But
yeah, it's really unfortunate. I think you probably saw the little meme that I posted today about who remembers the guy that quits kind of thing. It's like, nobody remember the guy that quits, but unfortunately there are a lot of people like you spoke about who maybe the end game for them was that blue belt, and once they reached that goal, they were perfectly happy and didn't want to go on any further. With my students, I really stress that, a certain belt shouldn't be the end point. It should be your goal to try to gain complete mastery of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which, as you and I know, is not something any of us are ever going to attain no matter how long we train. It's just so vast and limitless.
Oh yeah, it's well, for me, it kind of resonates on a different level. I look at it as something that I'm gonna always have kind of in my kit bag, in the back. So I think that everything that you do is, especially with jiu-jitsu, because it is a very long journey. It's very long. When you start looking at guys that are, have been rolling for 8, 9, 10 years and then finally reach that level of black belt, and they keep going. And, for me, especially for a guy that's, in my community, it's just another tool, so some look at it as a sport, some look at it as a tool. And for me, I look at it as a tool. It's just something that just makes me that much better at my job, makes me that much better as a person. And, is something that I can use. It's something that's very practical for me in different places that I find myself, or at least places that I did find myself. So that for me is the most important part of it.
How much, if any, training did you get inside the Special Forces training? How much of it was grappling related, or did they even touch on any grappling?
Well, they have the Modern Army Combatives program. They have levels 1 through 4, and I had gone through the MACP level 1, which is very basic. And there's some grappling involved in it. I mean, it is very grappling intensive, but of course it's done with kit, and so you're wearing body armor, and it's teaching you how to get to tools and create space, and how to kind of base out and stand and create that space and get to your tools. So it's a little different. And then then I think in the SF community, then it goes one step further, and it goes to the Special Operations Combatives program, so the SOCP program, which is a little bit more in depth. And so some of it is grappling. Some of it has to do with grappling, some of it not so much grappling. It's kind of an even balance between the two.
Do you feel that there's a little need for more specific grappling training in there, or do you think it's just the right balance the way that it is?
No, actually, I think that it needs to be very grappling based. If I had to give my opinion on the subject, I would say that it should start off with grappling and wrestling, only because I've noticed it in my experience that whenever a new student comes in on Fort Bragg or wherever that I tend to be at, when it's a new student, I can usually tell within the first couple minutes whether or not that individual used to wrestle, or he has some grappling experience. Wrestlers especially, because one, they don't want to be on their back, and it's really hard to keep them on their back when you get them there. And I usually is a telltale sign for me that, okay, this guy used to wrestle. And one of the things that I really like about wrestling is that they're very aware of their hips, and they're very aware, just kind of like the economy of motion of their body is definitely, they're more aware of what's going on. And I think that that's a great base, especially for the military, that if you can take these guys and you can give them a base of wrestling and then start to migrate that into the grappling game, that it would really, 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 those guys would really benefit from it. The military is it's definitely an odd situation when you talk about the military and grappling and what it is. And, designing a 3-week program, it's very hard to take somebody who has no experience and then say, hey, I'm going to put this guy through a 3-week program, and then that's going to make that guy that much better. And in reality, for most of us, especially for, the guys like us that compete and guys like you, it's really hard to get somebody like you to believe that 3 weeks is going to do a lot. Especially for guys that have been in this journey for so long. It's like, okay, with 3 weeks, I got it. But, this is not a 3-week program. Jiu-jitsu is not a 3-week program. It's a lifelong journey, and it's something that, like you said, most of us will never master, and we just keep learning and keep learning. Our game will evolve, and, trying to wrap up an entire culture of a martial art into 3 weeks is really hard to do.
Yeah, I think that something needs to happen to where the military, the services are encouraged to incorporate more grappling. I'd like to see that happen in the future. And also, I deal with a lot of law enforcement, and I see the importance that it holds with them, because if they can subdue somebody without having to go to their firearm and possibly have to take someone's life, I mean, I think it would limit a lot of the kind of situations we're seeing where maybe somebody could have been subdued and then they were killed. Of course, there's going to be the exception where, there's nothing they could have done and they had to shoot the person. But I think the level of confidence, the ability to grapple and control somebody without doing relatively much harm to them would definitely benefit law enforcement as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that I think you kind of said it perfectly when it comes to the confidence part of it. Most guys that I see around, whether they're, more specifically, I think that when guys start to hit that level of probably right around purple belt. I think for me, it's right around purple belt. I can I can legitimately look at a guy and say, okay, this guy's a legitimate purple belt in jiu-jitsu. And I think if I put him in a room with 10 other people, I think he would have the confidence to say, hey, give them to me one at a time, and I think I'll be fine. And, confidence like that, I think it serves everybody best, especially for, like you said, law enforcement, when guys can go into a room and know that, hey, I'm going to be okay. And so that's one of the things that I've really taken note of with a lot of guys, is that when they start to hit that level, and I don't remember who it was that told me it, but there's somebody somewhere along my jiu-jitsu journey that said, a legitimate purple belt in jiu-jitsu is a dangerous guy, and for that, I mean, really, you can argue even a really, really good blue belt is, that guy's dangerous. And, that's one of the things where when I talk to people and they ask me within the community, why do you do jiu-jitsu? Why do you do jiu-jitsu? And, I kind of relate it to them, and I relay it to them in another way. I say, if I can take an individual and I can make him a semi-shooter, and I can make him a semi-boxer, and, semi-good at grappling, and, semi-good at Muay Thai, and semi-good at wrestling, and you start to add all that up, and you realize that, okay, that guy's in the top 1% in the world, when you do that with somebody. So the confidence is just, it's insane, to watch these guys go from, especially on Fort Bragg, you watch them go from somebody who has no grappling experience, and you watch them go through being a white belt, blue belt, to a purple belt, and they're just a completely different person. In almost every facet of their life, they're completely different. I think it's remarkable.
For sure. It's one of those things where you always hear it's kind of considered a cliche about how, jiu-jitsu is both on and off the mats, how you can take these principles and use them in your everyday life. And it's just really cool to see people do that and kind of make that connection between the things that they learn in class and kind of how they handle different situations in their life. It's just really, really something special about our art and what we do.
Yeah, it definitely is, and I get to see kind of both sides of it, from the civilian side and from the guys that, we train with on Fort Bragg, and not just Fort Bragg anymore. We're able to start reaching out to a lot of the guys on a lot of the different posts. I think, we have a lot of followers that are at, Fort Riley in Kansas, and guys that are over in Okinawa, and guys in Hawaii, and people down in Texas, and Fort Benning, Georgia, and we seem to be able to create this following of people that, a lot of them hit me up all the time, and they're really super excited about what we're doing with the brand, and able to kind of show, kind of bring to light all the soldiers, whether they're prior enlisted or past and present. I think it's really something that's kind of special for them, that they can, because there's a lot of them, that are out there competing and training, and nobody, I don't think, was taking notice for a long time. So that's kind of definitely one of our goals, is to show everybody that, hey, a lot of guys in the military are, men and women, are training every day, and trying to kind of bring it back into the military and make it something great.
Yeah, and I think it's important for us to note, for the people listening, that we're not saying that jiu-jitsu is the solution for any different situation you may run into. I think any style that claims that, you got to be wary of it. I mean, obviously there's certain situations where going to the ground isn't going to be the most ideal thing, but I do believe that jiu-jitsu is one of the more complete arts out there. And then, like you said, if you can, cross-train in wrestling and all these other things, you're going to have a pretty complete tool set.
Yeah, it's definitely true. For me, it's for me personally, it's one of the more important things for me, mostly because with everything that I've done in my life, for me, jiu-jitsu is just, it's one of those things. Like I said, it's a puzzle, and Um, for me, when I'm watching guys on the mat, especially, for us on Fort Bragg, and watching guys grow and seeing that, they're it's definitely a martial art that it requires you to think a lot. So for the guys, it's great because it forces them to be a free thinker while they're training. And when you watch them grow in that facet of the sport, it's something that definitely is different than anything else that the guys are doing, and which is why I think that it's so popular with a lot of the guys, because it's very cerebral in nature. For you to get out there and to go against somebody else and learn. And there's not a lot of other things out there, especially for guys in the military, that are going to give them that sort of training. And I think that it's just growing more and more, especially for the guys that are doing it. It's I think it's just going to continue to grow.
Yeah, I had the opportunity of talking with Julia a little bit about Mission 22, and she kind of put it in a great way in regards to maybe veterans getting out of the military and having an activity that they can participate in, that you still have a uniform, you still kind of have a sense of hierarchy and all of these other things that are kind of conducive to kind of the format that they've been under when they were in the service. So it kind of maybe appeals to that aspect a little bit more than some other activities they could get involved with.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. I talked to a lot of guys that talk about it, and I don't know who started it or where it came from, but the whole jiu-jitsu saves lives, and I'm a 100% believer in that. I think that it really does, and especially for our service members. It's like you said, these guys, they get out, they ETS from the military, and they're looking for something to do that, again, like I said, is very closely related. It's a combat sport. So for these guys that get out, it just translates really, really easily for them that they can do it, and it still gives them that sense of fight. And it's a very A-type personality type sport. So, for them to basically get out of the service and looking for something that still, still gives them that bit of a fight is great. And I mean, I get a lot of people that message me and say, "Hey, man, jiu-jitsu definitely has saved my life, as a veteran, and that's really something that's really cool that guys get a hold of you and they talk to you. And, I try to talk to as many people as I can. I try to stay as connected with everybody as much as I possibly can. It's not always easy. I'm still in the military, so I'm still working 9 to 5, and but I still have my phone on me at all times, and I try to talk to as many people as I can. But that seems to be the one thing that everybody always says, is that, especially on the veteran side, especially for our followers, it's always, hey, jiu-jitsu, saved my life. So I think it's great, and it definitely goes well with the Mission 22 project.
Yeah, most definitely. So people always assume I have a inside track on things with the brands that I'm sponsored by, which
Yeah.
I'm usually on the same at the same place as the public on the inside info. But can you kind of tell us what some of the upcoming projects you have going are?
Yeah. So right now, the next thing that we have going, well, we did the version 2, which I'll be sitting down at the Showroll headquarters, I think sometime right after the first, to really set the date that we're going to go ahead and ship out. So that's the next project that we'll close out on. And then right now we're designing the first bag, which we already designed it, and it was already designed before. It was our prototype that we decided to create, but we weren't happy with the fact that we didn't make it in the United States, so we scrapped it. And we scrapped it just, it was just kind of one of those things. It was kind of a moral and an ethical decision from our standpoint. We had made the decision to go 100% American made. So we scrapped the bag, and I sent that down to Rob at Dual Forces, and they help us out so much. It's not even funny. And so right now we're designing the bag, and we'll be sitting down the next couple of days to do the first conversion bag that we're going to do. And it'll have a little bit of a military twist to it. And I think it's going to be a great project. And, so we're doing the bags. We're going to try to design 3 of them, 3 different bags. And then, of course, we have the Mission 22 gi that we're going to be doing in the next couple months, hopefully. So we'll get that project up and running. Right now we'll close out the version 2, and then we'll do the bag, and then start on the Mission 22 gi, which is I think is gonna be phenomenal. And we'll donate all the profit from that to the Mission 22 project.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I sat down and I talked to Bear and said, "Hey, man, I want to do this project, and there are other people that want to do the project as well, but I had already spoken to our friends, and they said, hey, we're going to let Jeff do the gi. But for us as a company, I would never want to profit from anything like that. So I think we were both in agreement that the best thing that we wanted to do and create was a gi that we could release, that we could all come together and give the money to the Mission 22 project. I think it's going to be a great hit.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. Where can people go to get more information about these upcoming projects? Do you usually direct them to your site, or do you have a newsletter?
Yeah, so for right now, we pretty much usually release everything on social media, and we're trying to evolve the site as much as we can to try to get everything up to date. It is a little hard to do sometimes, but I think here real soon people will be able to go to the Nous Defions USA website and see all the stuff that we're going to have going on. And we have other projects that we have going right now. We have the Gi for Soldiers campaign that we launched a few months ago, and that's still up and running, but we'll have a button that people can click on the site and go to that. And so they can kind of see where the Gis are going. And, we did the program for the 82nd, and then we're going to be doing it for 18th Airborne Corps. Then we have some friends that are over in Afghanistan that need Gis. So I think the next one that we're going to be doing is for those guys. And we have some friends down at Camp Lejeune, the Marine Corps down there, that are going to be on the program as well. So whenever people send their Gis and stuff, we just kind of box them all up every couple weeks. It doesn't matter how many we have. I think up to date right now we've donated, I think, somewhere right around about 120 Gis to some of the guys that are out there.
Where's the best place that they can find the info on how to send you the Gis and support that if they wanted to right now?
I think for the most part, people have been hitting me up on Facebook and asking. Like I said, right after the new year, we're going to have it on the website, so people can go on the website and they can click on the icon, and then they'll be able to see the information on where to send them to, and then they'll see the information on where the next group of people are getting them. So it's been people have really been supportive when it comes to that. It's been great so far.
Cool. Could you spell out your Facebook information for anybody that wants to get on there and hit you up and send a donation?
Yeah, the Facebook is just the name of the company, so it's just NOUS and then space DEFIONS, and they should see the new 2016 logo, the collaboration logo with the skull and crossbones, and then of course the Show Your Roll logo underneath it.
Very cool. I'm sure you'll have a lot of people getting on there and showing their support.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been really cool so far that we've had so many people that have donated, and it was a little overwhelming at first, but I thank Rob DeFranco for that. But
oh yeah, good old Rob.
Yeah, he hit me up on Facebook one day, or he might have texted me. I'm not sure which one it was, but he said, "Hey, I've got some Gis that I'm not wearing anymore. You think you can find a home for them?" I said, "Sure, yeah, man, I'll do that." And he sent me the box, and then I I posted the picture of the box, and then my inbox just got flooded after that, which is dozens of people that were like, we need an address, we're going to send geese. And then I was like, okay, well, that's pretty much how the program started. And so it kind of went from there.
Well, I know a lot of us heavily involved in social media, like you and me, think it's completely absurd if somebody doesn't have a Facebook account. But if they don't and they wanted to get a hold of you via email, what's your email address?
Yeah, so my email is Jeff Perez at NouDefionUSA.com.
Perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know it seems crazy, but I've run into a few people recently who told me they did not have a Facebook account. They haven't drank the Kool-Aid yet.
Yeah, that's happened a couple times. That some people have called me and said, "Hey, I'm not on Facebook, but I wanna send you some stuff." So it does happen. It's I think it's few and far between. But no, you're right. There are definitely some out there that don't have it.
What would you say the importance of social media, that social media has played in helping your brand?
Oh wow, it's been absolutely crucial. It's I think that social media is definitely great for the networking portion of it, and to try to stay connected as much as you can with everybody that's following you. It's I think it's definitely vital to have. And it's been great so far. So I've had no complaints. It seems that it just keeps growing. So I think it's definitely something that you have to have. More so because I think with social media, especially with Facebook and Instagram, it gives people a little bit of a chance to try to form a personal relationship with you, and then that way they see everything that you guys are doing and what you're working on. So that's how we try to handle it, anyways.
That's great to hear. I know it's played a big part in my business and in my presence online, and I kind of think that's one of the things that people maybe don't understand or slack on a little bit when they're trying to start their brand or build their business up, is just how crucial social media and your web presence are.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a journey that you have to take. I know for me it was, it was hard for me at the beginning because I didn't really understand a lot about it, and I definitely think, and I give a lot of credit to Bear actually at Show Your Roll, because I remember when I was first launching it, for me, he's a great mentor, and one of the things that he was, always trying to kind of hammer home with me was that, don't worry about the T-shirts, don't worry about merchandise, don't worry about all of that kind of stuff that you think that you want to be engaged in, and instead just, build the brand and build a following and try to create a culture, with the name and the logo. And, if you can do that, then, you can start worrying about the other stuff later. So that's what we tried to do was create a culture and a following. And, once we were able to do that, and we really knew that, hey, this is something that we're going to be able to do because we have enough people that are, behind that, our specific culture and what it is that we're trying to do with the, the Make It in America campaign, and, everything else kind of followed in line.
Well, you definitely are doing a great job with the branding. It's definitely one of the most recognizable brands out there right now, and I know a lot of people are really excited to see the things to come in the future. Is there anything else that you'd like to let the listeners know about or share before we call it a night on here?
Well, let's see. A lot of great things coming in 2016. Super excited. We are going to have three more athletes joining the team, so to speak, in the beginning of the year, and I'm super excited to announce that as we hit the new year. And we're just going to keep doing what we're doing, and we're going to keep creating everything in the United States, and that is one thing that I wanted to touch on, that I had gotten a lot of people asking me about, the T-shirts and why it is we decided to go the route that we did. And I guess I'll take a couple of minutes and kind of explain that. But
yeah, please do.
yeah, so a lot of people always kind of question and ask us exactly, what goes into our shirt and what makes it different than anybody else's shirt. And one of the things we try to really do, with the brand is kind of make people a little bit more consumer savvy in what's going on with clothing. And for us, our shirts are they're a little bit different in the sense that the cotton is grown in North Carolina, and it's picked and it goes to the cotton gin and it goes to the manufacturer, and the T-shirts are made and they're they're enhanced printed, and basically what that means is that there's no plastisols, there's no harmful chemicals that go into the creation of the shirt, and they don't crack, fade, or shrink, and that was important for us because shirts that are screen printed, they as we sweat and our pores open up, all those harmful chemicals and stuff can enter the skin. So we wanted to create something that was safe, and more importantly, we wanted to make sure that every dollar that was spent and every dollar that we bring in was going to Americans and going in their pockets. So for us, that's just really important for us. So I like to think that somewhere along the line, when you have that 100% financial transparency, that people can kind of appreciate the fact that when they buy one of our T-shirts, that 100% of everything goes to the Make It in America campaign, and it goes to all the farmers. It just stays in the United States, which is great, great for us. So that's really what we try to do is create and design for other companies and kind of push their products into the limelight a little bit to show that, hey man, these are all great companies and they're all making it in-house, and they're not going overseas. So, it's super important.
Well, I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on one of those shirts.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll be sending you guys some. So we have all the new ones that are being coming in the beginning of the year, and we'll be sending them all out to the guys that we sponsored for 2015. And every time we have something new comes out, we'll be pushing it your guys' way, and we're super excited for it. I think you guys will like everything that we're gonna send your way.
I'm sure I'm gonna like it, and my only issue is gonna be explaining to my wife why I have more jiu-jitsu shirts.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's yeah, well, yeah. Those are good problems to have.
She's very understanding. She gives me a hard time about it, but I know that she supports it, so it's all good. She even gave up, her quarter of a closet for it. So.
Yeah. Well, yours is definitely unique. I think you and Donna, you guys got it. You guys are something else.
We've got a problem.
Yeah. Well, the way I look at it is that it's a good problem to have.
It is, and it's a problem that can only be solved by buying more shoyu-roll, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's probably the only way to deal with it. But
Awesome. Well, brother, I really appreciate you being my second guest on the podcast here, and this is going to be a double feature that's also going to feature a shorter interview with Julia from Mission 22. So I'm just real honored that I was able to interview both you guys within a few days, and that you agreed to come on and share some information and be part of my podcast.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it as well. And like I said, anything we can do to support you, I think we're definitely grateful for it.
I appreciate it, brother. Well, listen, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you and your family, and look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Same to you, brother.
All right. Take care.
Yep. Bye-bye.